No, the question is like, what would David Stern do here? I mean, would he just exile all these players, like send them to Russia, send them to Europe? Like, the, imagine David Stern having to deal with the modern NBA. The law and order. Oh my god,
You said exile. You
dictator.
said exile. I'm thinking of another word that starts with E and X, and it's not exile.
Absolutely,
I think that's where David Stern would go.
absolutely.
What's up, everybody? This is Zero Gravity, Apollo Media's NBA podcast. This podcast is brought to you by Zing Zang's Blazing Bloody Mary Mix. If you haven't already, go get the Blazing Bloody Mary Mix for the holidays. It's coming up this weekend. Go to your local store, grab some Blazing Bloody Mary Mix from Zing Zang. And then if you need some stocking stuffers, head on over to Celebrity Mint at celebritymint.com. Go check out all their Ric Flair, Mike Tyson, all these awesome graded collectibles that you can just stock it, put them in the stockings. I know you need a last minute gift to throw in the stockings. Go to celebritymint.com. Check out the links in the description below. I am joined today by the What We Learned Houston Rockets edition king, Josh Garcia. How we doing, bud?
I'm great, man. I think I'm mentally peaking after what John Morant did last night. Great for the league. I think it's great for my agenda that I'm still trying to push. They're going to make the playoffs. I'm sorry. I know you don't like it, but it's what's going to happen.
Well, they cut Kenneth Lofton, so I think they might
Yeah.
be done. They lost the big boy factor, so maybe
Yep.
maybe
Yep. Yep. You need a
they
vibe
need
guy.
they got some bad karma coming their way. You can't cut that guy. You can't cut him. You
Yep.
need him.
Yep.
Hey,
Louisiana Tech
he
legend.
just looked so incredible on the court. Every time I saw him, I was like, I want him. I want him on my team.
Yep.
It's like Big Baby Davis.
Yep.
You just want that kind of guy on your team, you know?
Exactly. Every team needs a big boy.
But before we get into the Ja Morant return, we have some off the court drama to address. Anthony Edwards, care to address that in a better manner?
Send a video. Send a video.
The video.
Send a video.
If you haven't already, basically just go onto your Twitter feed, type in Anthony Edwards, and you'll see all the text message screenshots with alleged baby mama. Yeah, no, not great.
Bad.
Not great.
Bad vibe.
One of the direct quotes from that text was "Get an abortion, LOL."
Yeah, this is not a good look. He's already kind of been socially not really inept. He's kind of done some bad. He's called someone a slur on Instagram, like we mentioned off air. He turns out and does this. I mean, this is bad. This is a bad look, and I love spreading the Anthony Edwards on the court propaganda, but it's getting really, really hard to defend him off the court.
Yeah, it's becoming a problem. And if you're Adam Silver, you're shaking in your boots because the league is still run by LeBron James. No matter what anyone says, no matter what anybody does, LeBron James, as long as he is in the league, he is this generation's Michael Jordan. He is the face of the league. So post LeBron James, Adam Silver's looking at Ja Morant. He's like, we got a guy. Small market, kind of like LeBron was in Cleveland, that everyone loved. And then all the off the court IG lives, all the guns, all that kind of stuff. Not great. So Adam Silver, he's like, all right, next man up mentality, you know? Let's go to Anthony Edwards.
Exactly.
Another small town market, likable guy, incredible at basketball, does it all, plays both ways. And then this happens, and you're like, okay, well, who's our next guy? Because I don't know who comes up after this. Like, because when you're the face of the league, outside of Kobe Bryant, there hasn't been a star that's had like off the court issues where you can just carry your play onto the court just outweighs what you've done off the court. Kobe even had some rough years there. He wasn't even the face of the league, I would argue. Like, I would say that the league was trying to push all of the Dwayne Wade and LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony propaganda that they could during that time.
Absolutely.
Until Kobe kind of figured it out post Shaq years. Then he gets Pau Gasol, and all of a sudden it's over. And then it was Kobe's league for a few years with the LeBron 1A, 1B. But now after this with Anthony Edwards, I don't know where you go. I don't know where you look because Steph Curry's not going to last forever. LeBron James probably has 3, 4, possibly even 5 more years left at the way he's playing right now. He still looks like young LeBron James. He looks fast. He looks good on defense when he wants to play defense. So I don't know where you go with the face of the league. We talked about it in an earlier episode, probably last month. Anthony Edwards, face of the league. And just like a Ja Morant Instagram Live, that one was shot down pretty quickly.
There it is. There's the clip,
There it
baby.
is.
There it is. I think honestly this John Morant stuff that we've seen these past couple months, it's child's play in comparison to how bad that a lot of players have been acting off the court. When I think of the IG live stuff showing guns, of course, it's not a good
No,
look. But you never know. It could have been they could have been legal guns. They could, I get that he's a face of the league, but legality wise,
no, yeah.
was it enough to get a 25-game suspension? I don't know. Is Anthony Edwards going to get suspended? Probably not. Is Josh Giddey going to get suspended? Not until we know more, right? These stars, quote unquote, have left this league in such shambles with what they've been doing off the court, and it just, like I said, it makes me feel better knowing that John Morant only showed a gun. Like, it's cool, it's fine, and maybe he did a couple other off the court things. It's fine, right? I don't know. I think that John Morant will be fine in regards to not just his play, not just his off the court stuff, but him as a whole, his team as a whole. And it, like I said, this just made me like him even more because of all of the issues that all of these other people are facing off of the court. It made it look like nothing in comparison. I don't know. I don't know.
Adam Silver's in his office like every morning now, just face palming it. It's just like
Yep.
another one,
Yep.
like Josh Giddey. I mean, he already dealt with John Morant all of last season and then into this season. I mean, Jaw hasn't done anything since the last incident, but the suspension carries over. So it was a topic for ESPN talking heads and whoever else talks about the NBA. Everyone's talking about John Morant all season for 25 games, and John Morant hadn't even played a minute. Now you got Anthony Edwards. The Josh Giddey situation is just, it's not ideal if you're Adam Silver or any NBA executive. Like, you're just like, we got a TV deal coming up pretty soon here, next year, year after, whatever it is.
A lot of money on the table.
You could lose hundreds of millions of dollars if this just keeps
Exactly.
happening. So I don't know what they
Exactly.
do, and maybe that's why
Well,
Mark Cuban ended up selling. Maybe he's just like,
yeah,
I don't know.
no, the question is, like, what would David Stern do here? I mean, would he just exile all these players, like send them to Russia, send them to Europe? Like, the, imagine David Stern having to deal with the modern NBA. The law and order. Oh my god.
You said exile.
Dictator.
You said exile. I'm thinking of another word that starts with E and X, and it's not exile.
Absolutely.
I think that's where David Stern would go.
Publicly too.
Yeah, no, this shit would not be happening under David Stern. No one would find out. No, nothing would leak.
Yes.
Michael Jordan, I mean, if we want to talk about hiding things, Michael Jordan disappeared from the league for a year and a half, 2 years.
These are all conspiracies.
But he didn't play basketball for 2.5 years.
Yes.
And I don't think it's because he wasn't, or he just wanted to go play baseball. I don't think that's what it was.
In his prime, or you like at the end of his prime, or come on.
He had just won 3 back-to-back titles, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna call it I'm calling it a day.
I'm good.
And when John Elway did it, everyone's like, yeah, you did it right. Back-to-back titles, you end your career, you walk off into the sunset. That was the end of his career. Jordan obviously played 6 more seasons after that, and then came back another year and a half later and played for the Wizards. Like, he had plenty of basketball left in him. I think he averaged like 25 or 26 with the Wizards too. Like, still had buckets to give.
So, not great efficiency, might I add.
No, but he was still putting the buckets up, and call that the D'Angelo Russell experience.
when they were going in, they were going in.
We'll go ahead and talk about John Morant. John Morant, welcome back. Suspension of 25 games is over. He scored 34 points in his first game back from suspension, where they went down 20 pretty early. I was looking at the box score. I wasn't able to watch the game, but they were down 20 kind of early in the game, first half, and I was like, all right, Memphis, they're done. They're dead. 1 game with John Morant, and it's done. It's over. I'm good. And all of a sudden, 20 minutes later, I look at the box score again. It's a 5-point game. I'm like, all right, okay, that's not good. Don't like that. Don't like that. And then obviously the floater to win, and the direct quote on the post-game interview on the court was, I'm a dog. I'm a dog. John Morant has not learned a single thing while being just not being on the court. Like, he didn't go to any of those classes, or if he did, he didn't take notes. So,
right.
Yeah, I don't know. John Morant's back, and it is good for the younger generation to have the super athletic kid. Like, we had Russell Westbrook in our teens and preteen years, and we got to experience the crazy athletic and the crazy plays that you can do in the paint, all the dunks,
Yeah.
all the shit.
Derrick Rose. Don't forget Derrick Rose.
I'm gonna forget Derrick Rose because he took an MVP away from LeBron, and I will never forgive him.
Ah.
I'll never forgive him for
Okay.
that. So,
Okay.
but yeah,
Respect.
Ja Morant's back, and it appears that the Grizzlies might be back as well.
I think they'll be fine. I think that there's something to be learned about John Morant being out for this long and seeing how bad that roster was. Like we talked about it, there's way too much slick back hair on that court. It was all G leaguers. It felt like,
Mm-hmm.
but it's good to know that Jaren Jackson, Desmond Bain are still hooping. Of course, it's under different circumstances. Triple J scored, I think it was 44 against my Rockets the other night,
Yeah.
in a loss, might I add. But the Desmond Bain, Triple J, John Morant. Like, I hate to say a new big three, but because they'd have to have a lot more pieces on that
Right.
squad in order for it to work. But a mid three,
Well, when you
you tell me.
look at it, Desmond Bain can be an all-star. I don't know if he has been to the all-star. I don't think he's been in the all-star game,
No,
but
no,
like
not yet.
could be in the near future. Maybe not this year, but in the years coming.
Right.
Triple J won a Defensive Player of the Year, and Ja Morant is a MVP candidate if he is able to play a majority of 82 games. He's able to carry that
Right.
game, the team to a top 3 Western Conference record into the playoffs. So you could call that a big three. I'm not opposed to it. Like you definitely have a big two because you have a Defensive Player of the Year and an MVP candidate. Desmond Bain is obviously the
Exactly.
question mark there. Can he rise up to the occasion? Can he be the Chris Bosh? Can he be the Klay Thompson or Draymond Green? Like the third or fourth guy on the team
Right.
where he's making an all-star game because he's better due to the other players on his team. But yeah, the Grizzlies, I didn't want them to be in any conversation come March when we're looking at records and everything. But if they're going to play like they did last night and come back from games when they're down 20 and John Morant just scoring 34 and I don't know, he had 8 assists maybe and 6 rebounds or something like that. So
Right.
he had a stellar game, first game off of a suspension where we talked about it preseason. How is John Morant going to come back? Is he going to be good or is he going to have some rust to shake off? And in basketball, more often than not, you can shake off the rust pretty quick. He didn't have any. No rust. No rust. He was good.
Yeah, he adjusted the game tempo well. I mean, just seeing him still be able to run that fast, not that he wouldn't be able to because he's still clearly about to be in his prime, but just seeing it again, oh my God, like crazy visual, like I always say. Just seeing it, really in person again for the first time since what, April? May?
Yeah.
We haven't seen John Morant play a game of basketball in like 8
No, it's
months.
been a
And
while.
it felt so nice, more than anything
Yeah.
else. And I have so much of an agenda to spread this season. The Grizzlies are my team outside of the Rockets, at least for this year. I usually like to pick a one West, one East team. I used to always like the Raptors, but then they won that title, and I was like, okay, I want to pick like a young team. So my team last year was the Kings. This year it's going to be the Grizzlies. They have a lot of ground to make up, but it could happen. It could happen. 45 wins. 45 wins. I'm manifesting it.
It's a tough West, and they could definitely do it. So we'll see what ends up happening over the next couple of weeks. So we're heading into Christmas. So Christmas is Monday actually. So
Yeah.
hopefully we can
Yeah.
record an episode Saturday or something like that. Do a little preview for
Yeah.
Christmas Day and have that released on Monday for you guys and viewers and listeners. So hit that subscribe button on any platform that you use podcasts, or hit that subscribe button on Apollo HOU YouTube. Hit the notification button. We'll be up. We'll have an episode ready for you Christmas morning after you open your presents, before the first game tips off at 11 or 12 Central. Get that podcast in. But
Absolutely.
we're going to move into the second segment here. If you're wanting to sponsor this segment, we're going to start doing this on Wednesdays. So every time we record on Wednesdays, it's Wednesday, December 20th, when we're recording this right now. We're going to do player A or player B. Name that Pokemon. Which player would you rather have? So we're going to put a graphic on the screen now. Which player would you rather have? Player A. These are averages. So 27 points per game, 9 rebounds per game, 4 assists, 48 field goal percentage, 35 from 3, 79 free throw, 60 true shooting. Good numbers. That's a great player. 27, 9, and 4. Like, you're taking that all day long. That's an all-star. That's a potential all-NBA player. Player B, 24 points per game, 6 rebounds per game, 6 assists, 55 field goal percentage, 42 from 3, 89 from free throw, and a 71 true percentage shooting.
Oh my goodness. I'll sacrifice the 3 points any day with those percentages, those amount of efficiency. Oh my god,
Yeah.
give me player B.
So player B, 7 more on the field goal percentage, 7 more on 3-point, and 10 more on free throw, and 11 more on true shooting. The numbers are a little off. 27 versus 24 points per game. You're sacrificing 3 points, but you gain 2 assists, so you're making that bucket and then some back. You want me to tell you who the players are? All
Absolutely.
right. Player A, Jason Tatum. Not bad. You're looking at that and you're like,
Right.
okay, 35 from
All
three is a
star.
little low, but we can take it. 79 from free throw, a little low, but we'll take it. The numbers are great. Player B is Luka Doncic in the last 8 games in the first half. Those are his first half averages.
That triple double just sealed it for you. I'm so glad that you brought this up. He is on another planet right now, and he's gonna do this for the rest of his career, damn near. I mean, it feels like we talked about this. We talked about Luca for at least 7 minutes last show,
Yeah.
but he is as efficient can be. And I'm really glad you brought this up because just in a first, are you kidding? 20 to 24 minutes a game, and he can do
Yeah.
this. Like how long is this going to keep up? Are we serious right
Because
now?
last season, when you
And
look at these,
he's fifth in MVP odds.
last season he's
Fifth.
playing a minimum of 20 minutes in the first half. This season, during the last 8 game stretch, I think he's around that 18 to 22 minute mark in the first half due to all of the injuries that have happened. So, but he's not playing the full first quarter anymore. He comes out around 6 minutes in, 8 minutes in, takes a rest, comes back in at the beginning of the second, takes a break, and then comes back in for the end. This is insane. He has better numbers than Jason Tatum for the entire season in the last 8 games in the first half.
Different. Just different.
First half. So if you'd like to sponsor that segment, player A or player B, we'll come up with a good name here in the next coming weeks. We'll record these on Wednesday. So if y'all have suggestions and you have player A or player B for us, hit our DMs on Twitter or Instagram, and we'll keep this going. But I just, it's alarming that his first half numbers,
Yeah.
I mean, he has 11 straight games with 30 points. It's the second time he's done that with the Mavericks. He's done it more times than Dirk Nowitzki, I think, by like twice. I think Dirk only had one run like
Wow.
that. I think Luka has 2 now. He's at 11 games in a row with 30-plus points. He's almost averaging a triple-double for the season. Yeah, he's carrying the Mavericks to the 3 or 4 seed right now in the West, and without him, they're a lottery team, and they're giving their pick up to the Knicks this year. So,
exactly.
Yeah, without Luka, the Mavericks are dead. Derek Lively, I will give you both of my ankles, and hopefully that can turn into one good ankle because, truth be told, I don't have good ankles either. I've rolled them a lot in the last few years. So not ideal, to say the least. Josh, the Detroit Pistons, we have to talk about it. We haven't talked about it for a few weeks. It's just only gotten worse. Monty Williams got, a 10-year, $100 million deal to be the head coach of the Detroit Pistons for
insanely overpaid.
For some godforsaken reason. I don't know how it happens. They have 14,000 power forwards on the roster. Cade Cunningham is good. Killian Hayes is good.
Interesting.
Maybe. Probably not.
No. Just the Killian Hayes lore over the past 2 years has just been hilarious.
He just,
Everyone
never
hates him.
gets a chance.
He's been fine.
He's fine.
He's been fine this year.
Yeah. We talked about it off air. Osar Thompson. So the other Thompson twin, you're a Houston Rockets fan, so you have Amen Thompson. Osar is shooting 15% from 3 is what you said? Not good.
Yes, 15.
And that's not on Osar. I'm going to blame everything on the Pistons organization. I'm going to build it on whoever built that roster. I'm going to blame it on Monty Williams. Marvin Bagley is still on the team. James Wiseman is on the team. Haven't seen him in weeks. He doesn't play basketball for the Detroit Pistons, and he's on the roster.
Yeah.
They're 2-25, and it's December 20th when we're recording.
And they started the season 2-1.
Yeah.
Might I add.
It's not good by any means. Is this the worst basketball team that you've seen in recent memory outside of the 76ers process?
Yeah, I was just going to say the only thing you can really compare it to is the process. It was kind of sad because I didn't really watch the NBA that much during that lockout season. I was 10 years old, 11 years old. My dad was protesting it in a way. So NBA was not allowed in that household on Mondays and Thursdays and every other weekend. But but I will say this is probably the worst team I've seen in at least 5 years. Again, there's nothing to compare it to. I have a very big problem with whoever's putting Jaden Ivey in as the 8th to 11th man on that team when he should be starting every game, especially when at this point you have nothing to lose if you're Detroit. I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing here?
And
Watching them just pisses me off because they're not losing games by 30 every night. They're losing games by 10, 15, maybe 20,
yeah,
and it's they're consistently in these games, but they just fumble every time. Like they're infuriating. And I told you about a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, I've seen like 4 or 5 Detroit games on League
I
Pass this year,
can't believe that you've been doing that. It's
and I'm a
awesome.
sicko. I'm a real sicko for shit basketball, and I really think that Detroit just has it this year. Are they going to get 10
They're
wins?
on pace.
What's
They're on
happening?
pace for 6 wins.
Oh my god. Oh my god, this is ugly.
Yeah, so they played 27 times 3, 81. So you could
Yeah.
give them another win there. They're on pace for 6 or 7 wins on the season. What was the 76ers? Did they win 12 that year?
I think they got 12 and 70, I think it
This
was.
was disgusting.
He fucking you.
It's just a shame that the Pistons have had all of these top picks, and then they keep trading for past lottery picks, get them on the roster, and then they're still not good because Marvin Bagley could have been fine if he just wasn't drafted ahead of Luka. You know, when you
Yep.
do that,
Yep.
you've entirely messed up.
Exactly. Josh Jackson
Josh
too.
Jackson,
Can't
my
forget.
God, it's just
Yep.
if you're a Pistons fan, I'm sorry. I don't know how you're watching any of these games. And as Houston Astros fans here, we've experienced this. We went through 40, 30, 51 seasons for 3 in a row. Like we lost 100 games a year.
Yep.
It's not fun, and you don't watch it primarily. And if you do watch every game, you deserve a lifetime contract. You deserve season tickets for the rest of your life. You
Exactly.
deserve to be paid to go to those games for season tickets for the rest of your life.
Yep. Yep.
Emotional damage should be paid for by the Detroit
Yep.
Pistons. If you need to go to your therapist to talk about Pistons basketball, you should get that comped by the Detroit Pistons. The product is awful. I'm also a Miami Dolphins fan. We went 1-15 one year. 1-15. That's not acceptable. And
Mhm.
it's baffling. I can't imagine being a sports fan of a team that bad because there's 82
That
games.
consistently loses.
At least
Yep.
in the NFL, there's 16, 17 now. Like you can get through 4 months and you're like, all right, it's over. I don't have to watch it anymore. I can go watch the good teams in prime time, whatever. The Pistons, 82 times. We've only played 27.
Yeah.
We're a third of the way in.
This is bad. This is real bad.
I,
My favorite tweet that has probably come out this entire season was an Instagram model or someone who was very attractive. They were courtside at a Hawks
yes.
game, right? They're courtside at a Hawks game, and she put a little video up, of who they were
Mhm.
playing, and it was the Pistons. It was Hawks versus Pistons, and the quote tweet, the quote tweet said, the man is spending his money smart. He is buying courtside seats to a Pistons game, and I think that just sums it up perfectly. I really do wonder how much those seats were because it was in Atlanta after all, but just seeing them happen to be playing the Pistons that night, you can't make it up. Perfect tweet.
Yeah. So for reference, I went to Brooklyn. I was in New York for spring break in 2019. So that fun Brooklyn Nets team with D'Angelo Russell on when they were doing all the
Yeah.
celebration, the bench mob, and all that. That was a fun Nets team, and they made the playoffs. Like they weren't a bad team by any means. They were above 500 the whole year. They won 43, 44, 45 games. Like a
Yeah.
decent team and a fun team to watch. I remember looking at tickets because we were in New York City. I'd already gone to the Knicks game. I went to a New York Rangers game. It's like, let's go to a Brooklyn Nets game. Let's just check another arena off the list. Go to Brooklyn, take the train over. I looked at courtside just for fun because I knew we weren't going to spend the money to go there. We'll get fine seats and see the arena, whatever. It was $400 for courtside at that team.
That's not
It's
terrible.
no, that's like
That's not
incredibly
terrible.
cheap for a ticket
Yeah.
for courtside in an NBA game.
Yeah.
I can't imagine
Wow.
how low that ticket was for the Hawks
Oh
and
my
Pistons.
god. Oh my
Like
god.
it couldn't have been more than $250. Like
I know. I know that OKC when they were really really bad these past couple years, there was because I was listening to Macro Dosing Barstool Pod,
mm,
and they all wanted to go to OKC to sit courtside. No, couldn't even tell you why, but tickets were like 180 for hardwood courtside seats. like legitimately 180. And I don't think we'll ever see anything like that ever
That's
again.
insane.
Yeah.
Before we go, did you end up listening to the Bill Simmons and Ryan Russillo trade
I li-
special?
yeah, yes, I listened to it as I was falling asleep last
Okay.
night. It was a perfect lullaby.
Yeah.
Perfect lullaby.
So, Bill Simmons guy, you're a Ryan Russillo guy. We had the
Yep.
mashup of the century. It'll be back here in a few weeks, post football season. Then we'll start getting that every Monday, I think. But um, sound the alarms. Like we had the podcast. I sent you the screenshot. I was like, here we go, the Joker gif. Like it was great. We were so excited. What do you think about DeJounte Murray being on the Houston Rockets?
Oof, I've never even fathomed the thought. I don't know who we would give up.
So
Those fake trade talks were really weird.
it didn't make
I
any
don't ever
sense.
see that happening.
No, they
I don't
traded
ever see
Jalen
that
Green
happening.
and some picks, like the Brooklyn pick and one other
Yeah,
piece. I can't remember what it was. And for DeJounte
I'm
Murray,
good.
no, that sounds
I'm good.
terrible for the Houston
I'm
Rockets. Like,
good. Thank you though. Appreciate
yeah,
it.
Jalen Green just does the same thing as DeJounte Murray at a better, like more
Yeah,
exciting rate, I guess. Like
yeah,
DeJounte doesn't do
and
anything for you.
yeah, and I say this, I've said this on my blog, but I think that the only viable Jalen Green trade, and let me get into Houston talk for a minute.
Let's
We'll
do it.
drop it, but I think the only way to end the Jalen Green experience is trading him for Donovan Mitchell with like 5 picks and maybe another player, Jock Landale or something
Mhm.
like that. That is the only possible way. The only way that would make me not want to gouge my eyes out. I mean, what are we talking about here? Like I've seen some really bad trade ideas on Twitter, but Donovan Mitchell, a disgruntled superstar for a potential rising star that has clearly not made things work this season, it's a recipe for success. Not maybe not for Cleveland, but for us.
Yeah, no,
And I think those 5 picks
yeah,
might just make itself work out.
maybe
But that's a long shot for
Donovan
sure.
Mitchell ends up a Knick or a Miami Heat. That's where I'm at. Like, if he's
Yeah,
going anywhere, those
yeah,
are the places. Because Darius Garland is
exactly.
out with a broken jaw. I don't remember what the timetable. I think it's 8+ weeks, and then Evan
Oh,
Mobley is also out 8 to 10 weeks with another injury. So they're pretty much dead. Donovan Mitchell isn't going to be able to carry your team to the promised land by himself. Cleveland
exactly.
was a fun story last year, but I think the show's over, and Donovan Mitchell is going to be gone whether you trade him or he leaves in free agency. So
Yep,
if you can convince him to stay an extra year, then good for you, Cleveland. But I don't see
exactly.
it happening.
Yeah, he's got to go. I feel bad for him at this point.
And he seemed excited going to Cleveland because he was like, because
Yeah,
I remember him doing an interview afterwards, and he was like, I was on the golf course. Agent called me, got traded to Cleveland. He said, "Let's go." But who'd they trade? Did they keep Garland and Mobley and Jared Allen? And he's like, kept them all. And he's like, "Let's go. We're excited." And it hadn't worked out. Got
yeah,
trounced by the Knicks. So
yeah.
not great.
Colin Sexton, he went to Bama,
He's a
right?
Bama boy. Yeah, young bull.
Yeah, yeah. Bama, big Bama
Yeah.
guy.
I think he's averaging
Yeah.
like
Shout out.
27 as a starter this year.
Oh my
Yeah.
god. I was gonna say I've been to Salt Lake and it's cool on the surface if you go there for like a week because you're like, oh, nature, you can be
Yeah.
outside and whatnot. Living there, I get why Donovan Mitchell was so excited to even go to Cleveland of all places. Like, what are we
Yeah. And
talking about here? Cleveland is miles
his
ahead.
dad was a New York Met, so he like grew up in Queens, like in the
Yeah.
biggest city in the world. Like, yeah, sure, count me in for that kind of stuff. And then he's got to go to Utah and now Cleveland.
Poor
Yeah.
guy, poor guy, and he's pushing 32. I feel
Yeah.
bad. He needs a good landing spot. I think New York would be perfect for him. Him and Brunson. Oh my
Yeah.
god!
And I think
Please sign me up.
because that's an RJ Barrett trade. RJ Barrett goes in that trade,
Yeah.
and you
Yep.
sacrifice defense for more scoring, which the Knicks sometimes need, and sometimes RJ gives it to him, but Donovan Mitchell ups that ceiling on the scoring front, and Tom Thibodeau and the rest of the team can figure out the defense. Because Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson is not like your all defensive kind of team. You're not gonna like that all the time. And then if you add Donovan Mitchell into that, you're like, okay, well, like Mitchell Robinson when he plays, that's one defender. Who's the other guy?
Exactly. Mitchell Robinson is very fun basketball. Might I
Yeah,
add?
get healthy, Mitch.
Yep.
We miss you.
Yep.
Recover from that surgery. But yeah, it's been an interesting week in the NBA, off the court and
Yeah.
on the court. So we're heading into Christmas. So we'll get a Christmas episode out for you on Christmas Day. We'll record it pre-hand. We'll just preview the Christmas Day games. We'll just do that. We'll
Yeah.
run that off
Yeah.
the right,
Yeah.
right off the
Perfect.
top. And
And we'll be wrong 9 times out
yeah,
of 10.
absolutely. And the Mavs are going to beat the Suns, and it's going to be great. Yeah, Zero Gravity, twice a week. hit that subscribe button. Go check out Zing Zings, Blazing Bloody Mary Mix, and the Celebrity Mint at celebritymint.com. In the description, there are links to lots of products. Shout out to them for sponsoring this episode. Basketball's been fun. It's about to be really basketball season post Christmas. That's when it starts to kick on. Like Christmas Day, we have 5 basketball games, and then the rest of the season is pretty much basketball. It's all that's going to be being played all the time.
That's it. And we're with it.
So this has been Zero Gravity, Apollo Media's NBA podcast. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next episode.